Hi there. I decided to make another video for you to explaining the process once again about the conversion of denary numbers to binary numbers, and I'm going to start explaining you how to convert now denary numbers to hexadecimal numbers. So before I start doing this, let me explain you or showing you this part. Okay, so remember that we have in denary numbers 10 numbers from 0 to 9. In binary numbers, we have two numbers for 0 to 1. And hexadecimal numbers, we have 16 numbers. So we need to take the 0 to 9 numbers, then we are going to use A, B, C, D, E, F. A is going to represent 10, B is going to represent 11, C is going to represent 12, D is going to represent 13, E is going to represent 14, and F is going to represent 15. Okay, so consider that and have that in your mind. Now the process of converting denary to binary, that is the first thing that I'm going to start explaining. So I do this. Okay, so the number that I choose in this case is 255. Okay, so you need to consider this information about divisions. You need to think about this. The number that you are going to divide is called dividend. The number that you are going to use to divide the other number is called divisor, and the result is called the quotient. And the number that you missed is called remainder, el residuo, lo que queda. Okay, so let's see. Remember these because you are going to need it when you are going to start programming this process. Okay, so let's start doing. Our dividend is 255. We are going to divide it by 2, and the result is 127. Here you have the process of the division. Okay, now here we have the remainder, that is 1, the quotient, that is 127. Okay, now to know if you need to continue dividing is this. You need to know if the quotient is bigger than the divisor. Okay, in this case it's true. The quotient is 127, and 127 is bigger than 2. So we are going to continue dividing. But you need to consider the, let me do this. You need to consider the remainder, and you are going to write it here. Okay, I know that I explained you that you are going to do that at the end, but when you are going to program this, the way that you do it in a paper, you cannot do the same in programming. Okay, so you are going to write it. Then we continue dividing. We have a 127. Now 127 is going to be our new dividend. Now we are going to divide 127. You are going to divide it by 2, and we do the process. The new quotient is 63, and our new remainder is 1. 63 is bigger than 2, so we need to continue dividing, and we are going to select this remainder and we are going to write it here. Okay, now we are going to divide 63 by 2. The new quotient is 31, and our new remainder is 1, and we do the same process. We write it here. Our next number is 15. Is 31, and we are going to divide it by 2. The new quotient is 15, and we do the same. 15 is bigger than 2, so we continue dividing. When are you going to stop dividing? You are going to stop dividing when your quotient is less than 2 in this case. Why 2? Because it's binary. You always are going to divide by 2. When you write all the reminders, in this case all the numbers were 1, because 2055 it's binary number, it's you're going to have 8 ones. Okay, so what you need to do here, you are going to write all the numbers and you are going to inverse the numbers. So you are going to write them again, but now from right to left. In this case you have only ones, that is not necessary. When you get ones and zeros, you need to inverse the number. Okay, now I am going to explain you how to convert from denary to hexadecimal number. In this case I have the number 1212, so we need to divide the number by 16. Why? Because it's hexadecimal. Hexa means 16. I'm going to use the calculator just for helping us to doing this faster. So remember here, this number uses 2 digits. That means that I'm going to use 2 digits here. But this number is less than this number, so we can't divide it. So we need to take another digit. Okay, so let me show you the way that I do this division. So I'm going to use 16 and I'm going to multiply it by 6. 96. No, let me try by 7. Okay, I am going to use 7 because if I use 8, the result is going to be bigger than this part. For example, 128 is bigger than 121. So for that reason, I am not going to use 8. I'm going to use 7. And the result is, I'm going to, let me delete this. Okay, the result is 112. 112. Okay, so we need to subtract here. So 121, we are going to subtract 112 and the result is 9. Okay, so we need to do the same that we do in the other division. We are going to put the number 2 down and I'm going to do the same. I think that I'm going to use number 5. 16 multiplied by 5 is 80. I know that if I use 16 multiplied by 6, is going to be greater. 96 is greater than 92. So for that reason I am going to use 5. That means that here I am going to have 80 and we are going to do the division here. That means that 92, we are going to subtract 80. That means that the result is 12. So 12. Oh, but I didn't write the numbers, right? So the numbers were 7 and 5. Let me check it. Yes, 7 and 5. Okay. Now, in this moment, we stop with the division. Why? Because this, you don't have any numbers to move down, and this number is smaller than this one. Okay, so we stop here, but this number is bigger than this one, so we need to continue. dividing, but our new dividend is 75 and we are going to divide it by 16. Then let's continue. So I am going to do the same. I'm going to use, I think is 4. Why? Because 16 multiplied by 5 is 80 and 80 is bigger than 75. So 16 multiplied by 4, so that means that here we have 64. So we are going to subtract this. That means that 75, we are going to subtract 64. The result is 11. So that means that the number here is 4. Okay, why? Because 16 divided 16 multiplied by 4 is closer than 75. 16 multiplied by 4, that's 64. Okay, and this is our remainder. So we stop dividing here. Why? Because the remainder is less than the divisor, and obviously here we don't have any number to move down, and the quotient is less than the divisor. And here we are going to do the same that we did with the conversion from decimal to binary. So we are going to start taking this one, or you are going to do the same that I explained. You are going to take this one, 12. You are going to take this one, 11. And you are going to take this one, 4. Now we are going to reverse those numbers. So that means that the new number is 4, 11, 12. But this is not the number. Why? Because you know that 11 is represented by the letter B, and 12 is represented by the letter B, and obviously the 4 is represented by 4. So the conversion of 1212, this is the hexadecimal number of this number. Okay? Okie dokie. That is the process. Now I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to explain you how to do the conversion of binary, this denary to binary. Your homework, your activity, your academic evidence is that you are going to do in Python the program that is going to convert from denary to hexadecimal. Okay, and it's pretty similar. It's pretty similar to the conversion of denary to binary. It's pretty similar. It's not the same because you need to do more things. So I need you to start thinking about that. Okay, so you already have the software done. Okay, so let me open it. Okay, but I don't want to use this one. I am going to use the one that I explained in class. I'm going to open, I'm going to go here, documents, LCB, classes, 9A, this is tin in a new window. So this is what I explain you right now. Now pay attention to this. I'm going to start writing all once again, but let me explain you once again the process of creating the projects. So let me close this, saving the project. Okay, and I'm going to, no, this one I am not going to close it. So I am going to come here in documentos, LCB, classes 9a, and it's supposed to be the folder number 3, but I'm going to delete it because I want to do all the process just for showing you to create how to create the projects in Python. So here you have, you're going to come to main menu, new project. We're going to put the name that is then to bin, and here I am going to select the folder. So my folder is LCB classes 9a in this case, and inside 9a I am going to create the folder number 3 because this is the third activity with you, and I'm going to click on OK. And now get up. Now aceptar. Oh, start bugging me. Here I'm going to click on create, but okay, create new window. Okie dokie, there we have. We're going to wait until PyCharm creates the project, and I'm going to explain you this. If you notice the process of the conversion from Denary to binary, you need to do divisions, and you need to repeat the divisions. How many times? We don't know. That is the reason sorry that we need to use something that is called loops. What is a loop? A loop is an activity or a task or a process that you are going to repeat many times. Okay, if you do something once, it's just one process, but you do the same process twice, that is a loop. Why? Because you start repeating something. Okay, but we have two ways for repeating processes. The first one is when you know how many times you need to repeat something. Okay, let me give you an example, the same example that I gave you in class. So let's suppose that I'm your physical education teacher and I'm asking you to, okay guys, today's activity is that here in the soccer field you're going to start running around the soccer field, and you are going to do it 20 times. So you know how many times are you going to repeat the activity, in this case that you are going to run around the soccer field 20 times. So you know how many times are you going to do it. Okay, that is one way for doing loops. The other way for doing loop is when you don't know how many times you need to repeat something. So I'm going to give you the same example. Let's suppose that we are in a physical education class, and me as your teacher, I am going to say, okay guys, today's activity is that we are going to run around the soccer field, but let's see how many rounds can you do in 20 minutes. So that means that you know the activity you need to repeat. The activity is that you are going to make 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds, and you are going to run around the soccer field during or across 20 minutes. I think it's during. Okay, you are going to spend 20 minutes running around the soccer field. When the 20 minutes ends, you let's see, oh, I ran 20 times, or I ran 40 times, or I ran 3 times. That depends of you. So that means that you don't know how many times are you going to repeat the process. So when you know how many times you need to repeat something, you are going to use for. But if you don't know how many times are you going to repeat something, you are going to use while. In Spanish, mientras que. Okay? Why I'm explaining this? Because you need that the process of conversion from denary to binary is the divisions. You are going to start dividing the numbers by 2. But how many times are you going to repeat that process? You don't know. So now you know that you need a loop. And the loop that you are going to use is while. Okay? But first, we're going to start creating this. So when you have this, you are going to come here, you are going to right click, new, and Python file. I know that I told you that you can do it in BEM, but I think that here is going to work as well. So the Python file is going to be called as the project is called, then to bin. There we have. If you notice, the file is right here. So another thing that I'm going to start explaining you to remember, to helping you to remember something that I explained when we use the hashtag. But let me use Shift Windows and the I know Control Majus. No, I forgot this. Let me do it here. File, View, Alt Majus. Okay, Alt Majus and that. Tin, 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 tin. Is just for doing the font a little bit bigger. So if we use hashtag, this is for comments. Remember that the comment is something that Python is not going to execute, and why we use comments just for helping the people to understand our code. So I'm going to show you. Here we are going to show a message by screen. And look at what I'm going to do now. I'm going to put 3 comillas, quotation marks. That means that you are going to start creating comments using more than one lines. Look at here. We are going to use outputs to showing information by screen. If you notice, when you use hashtag and you press enter and you start writing, that is not a command and you are going to have an error. So if you want to write more than one line as comments, you are going to use 3 quotation marks. Okay, so the outputs, just for showing messages by screen, we use the word print. And print, we use it in many ways. The first way is for showing something special or something specific. In this way, I'm going to write, please write your name. Okay, so that means that when I execute this activity, I am going to have this message, this one, please write your name. If you see this part, that means that the program finished running, stopped running. Why? Because we are not doing nothing else than just showing a message. Now we are going to use the outputs, the inputs, sorry. So, and here, to catch, you know what's catch, right? To catch any value, we uses the input. That means that something is going to go inside the computer. In this case, is data. Okay, and gives the value to a variable. So I'm going to do it here. So the variable is going to be called name, and the variable called name is going to be equals to input and nothing else. Okay, so I'm going to execute the software once again, and here it says please write your name, and if you notice the program hasn't finished, and it's going to finish when we execute all the lines of code. So in this case I'm going to write David and enter. Now process finished with exit code 0. That means that there is not any error. We are going to use another output. So here I'm going to write once again print, and I'm going to show hi. So we are going to use this line of code just for saying hi to the name that was wrote. Okay, now this is a plus, suma, símbolo de suma. This is the plus. We use the plus for adding numbers or to concatenate or for joining text. Okay, this is text, and what we wrote here is text. So we are going to join both text. Let me show you. Please write your name. I'm going to write here Cecilia. So Python says hi and show me the name I wrote. Okay, now we're going to do the denary to binary conversion, so we are going to ask for a number. So please type a number to be converted, and obviously here we are going to write numbers or number equals to input. But if we want to operate that number in this way, we are going to have an error. What is the error? I am going to show you. Okay, let me show you here. Print in. This is your typed number plus number. Let's see what happened here. Type your name, David. Please type your number to be converted to 155. Okay, this is your typed number. In this moment we didn't have any trouble. Why? Because we are just showing it. Python, every time that you use the input, it doesn't matter if you type numbers or letters, the information always is going to be text. And remember the data types. In this opportunity, the text is a string. That means cadena de caracteres. Okay, now let me try to operate the numbers. So let's create the quotient is going to be equals to number divided by 2. Let's see what happens. Please type your name, David, and 255. Here we have our first error. Let me show you. And the error is in this part. Quotient equals to number divided by 2. Type error. Unsupported operand types for the division. Okay, so you cannot divide string and integers. This one is a string and this one is an integer. We cannot operate with those. So for fixing that problem, we are going to write here int, and we are going to put the input between brackets in the int. Okay, now if I want to execute the software, I'm going to write once again David and I'm going to divide 2055, and look at that we continue having another mistake. What is the other mistake or the other error? We convert this to int, but when Python finds this plus, that means that you are going to concatenate or you are going to add in numbers, and in this case we are not going to add in numbers. So for showing text with numbers, we need to convert this one to text, just for showing the message. Okay, now let's continue. David 2055, and look at that. Now we don't have any mistake. Okay, so now we are going to be able to continue doing the exercise. Okay, now pay attention. When you use one slash, that means that the quotient, I am going to show the quotient. Let me show you the result. David 2055. So look at, this is the result. So you are going to have a decimal number. Why? Because 255 divided by 2 doesn't give an exact number, gives a decimal number. But for doing this, if you notice here, we use only the exact part. We don't use the decimal part. So for doing this, you are going to add another slash. So that means that you with double slash, you are going to get just the exact part. Let me show you. David 2055. Look at, we don't have the decimal part. Okay, so but I'm not going to do this over here. We're going to to start the variables quotient equals to 0. We are going to use the remainder equals to 0, and I think we don't need anything else. Just yes, we are going to create a list, and the list is going to be called binaries equals to this brackets, square brackets. Okay, what is a list? Let me show you. I'm going to do it in Excel. Let's suppose that here we have something like this, and this is let's suppose that you have a room divided in different spots, lugares. Okay, and this is all the room. That means that here in this one you are going to be able for storing 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. You have 11 spots for saving information. That means that here you are going to, just one example, here you are going to store 0, here you are going to store, sorry, here you are going to store 1 0 1 1 1 1 0 0 0 0 1. We are going to use a list to do something like this, but we don't know how many places our list is going to have. That is the reason that I put this. That means that is a list, but that list doesn't have any space for now. Okay, so what are we going to start doing? As I told you, we are going to use while. Why? Because we are going to start dividing. Okay, so remember, we are going to start dividing, but we don't know how many times you are going to divide. But you have a condition. What is the condition? Remember that you are going to stop dividing when your quotient is equals to 1. when your quotient is equals to 1, you stop dividing. That means that while quotient is different to 1. Why? Because if the quotient is different to 1, you continue dividing. Okay? Now let me explain you something here. I am going to take a screenshot. So here, and I am going to start. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take this. I'm going to open a new one, and here I'm going to paste the image. Why? Because I need you to explain this. When you are going to use this process, you need to put these dots, okay? Why? Because this means that you are going to start writing inside the while, and everything that is inside the while is all the lines that is going to be repeated while this condition is truth. I want to explain that in Spanish. Vamos a usar los dos puntos, que es lo que indica el inicio del mientras que. ¿Cuándo va a parar el mientras que? O sea, el mientras que se va a ejecutar mientras que esto de aquí arriba, que es la condición, sea verdadera. Es decir, mientras que el cociente sea diferente a 1, se va a repetir el proceso. Cuando el cociente sea igual a 1, se detiene el proceso. Ahora, ¿por qué hice el stop? Porque para saber qué está dentro del while, ustedes necesitan dar un espacio a la izquierda acá. Y no den ese espacio a la izquierda con espaciadora, lo dan con la tecla tabular. Si no saben cuál es la tecla tabular, les voy a poner el teclado en pantalla. La tecla tabular es esta de aquí, la que está encima del block mayús o del caps lock en inglés. Okay, let me show you. So when you write this symbol and you press enter, look at that the cursor is now with the space on the left that is called indentation. That means that what I write here, that belongs to the while, and the line that is like this one without the spacing on the left, that means that that line is outside the while. Okay, so be careful with that. Okay, so what are we going to start doing? We are going to start doing this, but let me okay, we are going to calculate the let me see, because I already have it here. We are going to calculate the quotient. That means that I am going to calculate this one. Okay, that means that the quotient is going to be equals to the number slash slash divided by 2. Here in our first division we are going to get this number 127. Okay, now we are going to calculate the remainder. The calculus of the remainder is that we are going to take the same number percentage 2. That means that we are going to calculate the remainder. That means this number. Okay, and now we need that the number now needs to be equals to the quotient. Why? Because when you stop with this division, this number that is the quotient is going to be the new number that we are going to start dividing, and the number that we are dividing is this one. Okay, so there we have the process of divisions. Okay, if I execute the software 255. The process finished and show me this number 1. Why? Because I am showing the quotient. So remember that the process of division is going to stop when the quotient is equals to 1. Here the quotient is equals to 1. For that reason, the program stops. Okay? What do we need to start doing right now? We are going to use our list binaries, and we are going to use this function that is called append. That means that you are going to add something to the list, and what you are going to add is what you are going to put between the brackets. So that means that we need to start doing the list using the reminders. So here I'm going to put reminder. Okay, so now I'm going to give an enter, and I'm going to give a backspace. What is the backspace? Teclado en pantalla. No. Teclado en pantalla. The backspace is this one that you use for delete what you have on the left. Okay, so when I press the backspace, now that the cursor now is outside the while. Okay, now I am going to execute this right now. I'm going to change this, and I'm going to ask to Python to show the list, and let's see. David 2055, and look at this is the binary number, but let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 is not the same that I have here. Here I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, so that means that this is wrong. Why is wrong? Because in this code I am not considering the last quotient. Remember that I told you we are going to use the last quotient to start writing our binary number. So that means that outside the while we are going to add the quotient. That means that right now here we are going to have 8 numbers. So let me show you. David 2055. Now look at 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Now I am going to use another number. Remember that I told you that, let me do it here. We have no, here I'm going to use paint once again, and I'm going to do it here, and here I'm going to start writing. And remember that I told you when I gave you the list of binary numbers, the binary numbers is 0 0 0 0. That is the number 0. The number 1 is 0 0 0 1. The number 2 is 0 0 1 0. Okay, and etc. I am going to write here, consider this number 2. Okay, and let's execute the program. Hi David, please type a number to be converted. I'm going to press 2, and look at. It's not correct. Why is not correct? Because the number 1 is in the second position. Okay, so that means that here I am going to do what I told you here, that you need to reverse the list. So I'm going to use the binaries. I'm going to use the function reverse. Okay, now I am going to execute it. Once again, I'm going to write David, and I'm going to use the number 2, and look at, now the number is reversed. Look at here. It deletes the previous process. But you may say, Mister, but you told us that the binary numbers must be represented by number of 4 bits. That means that here we are missing zeros. But just for now, we are going to stop here. Later, I'm going to explain you how to do this. What we need to do is doing this. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here. I think here. And I'm going to no, sorry, it's not there. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to paste information that I put here, and this is binaries, this is binaries, and here this is binaries, and I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to do it once again. I'm going to put it, but I am not going to explain you in this moment this part of code, this one. Okay, I'm going to execute it. I'm going to write my name, and I'm going to write the number 2, and look at, we have an error here. Why? Because here I need to do size is going to be equals to len and binaries. Once again, David number 2, and look at, this number now is equals to this number 00100010. But as I told you, this part you are not going to do it. I just wanted to show you, okay? But that part you are not going to do it. I'm going to execute it, and I'm going to write once again David and number 2, and I forgot once again doing binaries punto dot reverse, and once again David 2, and that's all. Okay guys, so what do you need to do now? You need to try to apply this code to the decimal or denary to hexadecimal number conversion. Okay, so please, if you have any question, let me know. That is the learning evidence that you are going to deliver on cycle 6. Okay, I already explained you how to use those lines, so you are going to be able for doing it until just one part. Why? Because you are going to notice it, and I know that you are going to ask me. So don't do let me don't do this video so long. So thank you for being here. So see you in the next class or in another video. So bye bye.